But the governor gave this creepy fucking speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down while it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with these, with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We got some ideas, a speculator. We're gonna have some meetings. Like, he's
really?
Oh, show it to him, Jamie. It's so creepy because it's happening while these people their houses have been burned, all their childhood memorabilia, all the stuff for their kids.
Now, I know Gavin Newsom, and I think a lot about Gavin Newsom, many different things about Gavin Newsom, but one thing I know for a fact about Gavin Newsom is he has the capacity to beat a lie detector test. Gavin Newsom will say anything he needs to say, and not like Biden's not like this, actually. Whatever Biden's fault, he's not like this. Like Biden would, he has like guilt. If he's lying to you, he gets twitchy. Gavin Newsom's palms don't sweat. His respiration doesn't increase. His body temperature doesn't change. Nothing changes in Gavin Newsom when he lies to you.
What happens when a politician's perfectly polished image shatters on live television? When two of the biggest and most polarizing voices in media, Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson, decide to aim their cannons at a single target. The result was a verbal demolition of California's governor, Gavin Newsom. So brutal it left his golden boy persona politically scorched. They didn't just critique his policies, they tore into the very fabric of the man, exposing what they see as a hollow core hidden behind a billion-dollar smile and a helmet of hair gel. This wasn't just a political roast, it was an autopsy on a career built on image, ambition, and what his critics call a spectacular, almost pathological level of deception. Rogan and Carlson unleashed a verbal firestorm, painting a picture of a leader so obsessed with optics that he'd let his own state burn, as long as the cameras caught his good side.
Mother's wedding ring, everything's burnt to the ground. And this guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plans.
Watch this. Play this. And give me.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulder.
Before he was a political lightning rod, Gavin Newsom was presented as the Prince of California politics, the heir apparent to a progressive dynasty. With his sharp suits, flawless hair, and deep ties to the elite Getty family fortune, he looked less like a governor and more like an actor perfectly cast to play one. He cultivated an image of effortless, cool, and forward-thinking confidence, the kind of leader who could talk about tech innovation and climate change with a furrowed brow of deep practiced concern. But as Joe Rogan and Tucker Carlson see it, that polished veneer is a carefully constructed facade, a marketing campaign for a product that is fundamentally empty. Tucker Carlson famously dissected Newsom's hair as if it held state secrets, calling it a metaphor for everything fake, glossy, and hollow about his brand. A helmet with more structural integrity than the California housing market, a mop that could survive a hurricane but not a single moment of genuine truth. This carefully crafted image, the rolled up sleeves, and the look of pensive seriousness was designed to project authenticity, but his critics argue it only highlights the profound lack of it.
And I have been bothering him for years, like, you should come on my show. And he was kind of open to it. And then he whips around and he's like, no, you should come on mine. I was like, oh, I would love to, because I would love to debate him about what he's done to my state. And then I watched a parade of people go on, some of whom are good friends of mine, by the way, conservatives go on his show. And I realized, and I'm not attacking them at all, I almost did, but then I realized, oh, wait a second, this is like, this is not, the point of this is not to have a real conversation.
What Gavin Newsom did when Xi Jinping came to San Francisco.
He cleaned it up.
He cleaned it up. He got rid of all the homeless
Isn't that terrible
people.
in a way? To think, he cleaned it up and then it became a pigsty.
Well, the dumbest thing is he said,
Folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true, because it's true.
Like, how about just keep your fucking house clean?
Can you imagine? And the day he left,
Right back to it.
it went right back.
Yeah.
But in a way, that was a bad thing that he did because he showed
Showed it could be done.
what a disgrace that was. What a disgrace.
Behind that flawless exterior, a different story was brewing, one that exploded into public view at an opulent Napa Valley restaurant called the French Laundry. At the absolute peak of the pandemic, while Newsom was locking down his state, shuttering small businesses for good, and arresting people for surfing alone on an empty beach, he was caught dining indoors, maskless, in a large group of lobbyists celebrating a birthday. For his critics, this wasn't just a mistake or a momentary lapse in judgment. It was the ultimate act of breathtaking hypocrisy. It was a crystal clear message to the millions of Californians sacrificing their livelihoods and mental health. There was one set of draconian rules for them and another, much more relaxed set for the ruling class. Rogan called it the kind of thing most people simply couldn't do, a sign of a stunning lack of shame or self-awareness. The incident became a defining symbol of his entire governorship, a man who preaches sacrifice from a pedestal of immense privilege, completely insulated from the consequences of his own decrees.
Clearing the brush, the amount of money they could have saved by just clearing brush, like filling the reservoir, that 11 million gallon reservoir was completely empty during the time of full fire season. Like, why didn't you fix that?
Yeah.
Like, it's all insanely mismanaged. And then this guy is on television talking about, "We're really excited about that." Doing a dance in front of the burned down home that people used to sleep in.
The point of this is to rehabilitate. And I would say of Gavin, like, he's legit smart. I don't think there's anything at all at the core other than misery, another deeply, deeply unhappy person who, you know, we should be rooting for him to get his life together. But someone who kind of externalizes everything. You know, there's nothing at the center, and so everything is about the public display.
If the French Laundry was a crack in the armor, what Newsom did in San Francisco was a full-blown magic act of political cynicism. When Chinese President Xi Jinping was scheduled to visit, the city's streets, long plagued by a humanitarian crisis of homelessness, open-air drug use, and human filth, were miraculously cleaned up overnight. The sprawling tent encampments vanished, the needles were swept away, and the sidewalks were power washed. For a few days, San Francisco looked like the beautiful postcard it used to be. Instead of being embarrassed, Newsom even bragged about it on camera, admitting, "I know folks say, oh, they're just cleaning up this place because all those fancy leaders are coming into town. That's true because it's true." For Rogan and Carlson, this was the ultimate damning tell. It proved that the decay and squalor weren't an unsolvable problem. It was a political choice. The city could be clean, but only to impress a communist dictator. The moment Xi's plane left, the tents, the chaos, and the misery returned, revealing the cleanup for what it was. A temporary stage set for a global political performance, with the city's most vulnerable people used as disposable props.
Gavin Newsom talks about California. He's like, you know, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. California has all this industry. Hey, fucko, they're all thinking about moving.
Thank God.
The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. If it was like every business could instantly pull up roots and replace everything and have everything running in a week at the other place.
Gavin Newsom's palms don't sweat. His respiration doesn't increase. His body temperature doesn't change. Nothing changes in Gavin Newsom when he lies to your face. And there are not that many people like that, actually. That's a rare quality. Like, to lock down the state, to keep people's kids from getting an education, and to arrest people for surfing, and then go have dinner at the French Laundry. Like, most people couldn't do that.
He's literally saying black people and Hispanics are criminals.
Yeah, well, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what he's saying.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, it is true that crime like that does increase distrust between races. It actually gives rise to racism. It's totally destructive of the social fabric, I think. But I'm asking, like, what do you think his real motive is? Like, who's pushing him in favor of crime?
Well, I mean, there's always the song.
This wasn't a one-off stunt. It was a symptom of what critics describe as a state on the brink, a paradise collapsing under the weight of its own ideology. While Newsom stands at podiums and boasts that he's bullish on California, businesses are fleeing in droves, citing crippling taxes, suffocating regulations, and a collapsing quality of life. Tucker Carlson described downtown Los Angeles as a place where your Uber driver might need a tetanus shot and your hotel comes with a courtesy crowbar. Both he and Rogan hammered the homelessness crisis, not not as a tragedy, but as a deliberate policy failure of epic proportions. They painted a picture of a state where smash and grab robberies are so common they're practically decriminalized thanks to policies that reclassify felonies as misdemeanors. It's a place where law-abiding shopkeepers are fined for using plastic straws, while organized retail theft rings operate with near total impunity. Newsom's response? To sign dozens of housing bills that, according to his critics, only worsen the problem, destroying suburban communities to replace them with high-density housing projects that seem to benefit his developer donors far more than ordinary families.
They'd all be gone. They'd all be gone. It's too expensive. It's too expensive to leave versus what you would save and the regulations that you wouldn't have to go through and all the bullshit with all the permits and all the. What California does is overregulate everything. They get as much government involved as possible. They suck as much tax money out of you as possible. And then they still leave the place a mess. They still have homeless people everywhere. It's still a industry observers and benefited a donor. So how do we know that this is true? Do we have to subscribe?
The dreaded paywall.
One second. Okay, no worries. We'll subscribe. We owe you, Bloomberg. But it's there must be something to it, and it's so hard with that guy because when you just look at the way he praised Biden, I would never run against him. A man of character, like I'm old school. It's God. It's like he's playing someone in a movie that's a crazy person. It's like that's how like a really good actor would play a complete.
The environmental agenda has become another theater of the absurd. Newsom has positioned himself as a global climate warrior, famously pushing to ban the sale of new gas-powered cars. Yet, as Rogan pointed out, this noble-sounding crusade ignores a glaring reality. The California power grid can't even handle a warm Tuesday without begging residents to unplug their toasters and avoid charging the electric cars they already own. This is the green energy theater Rogan describes. A whole production with Newsom in the starring role as Captain Planet's evil twin, a man who will wage war on fossil fuels while the state's own mismanagement has led to empty reservoirs during peak fire season. It's a perfect storm of ideological purity clashing with practical incompetence, creating a state that is simultaneously the most environmentally aggressive and one of the most mismanaged. But how does he get away with it? How can a leader preside over so much visible chaos while maintaining a calm, unflappable, smiling demeanor? According to Joe Rogan, Newsom possesses a rare and chilling political talent, one that separates him from almost any other politician. He claims Newsom has the uncanny ability to beat a lie detector test. Rogan stated with a mix of awe and disgust, Gavin Newsom's palms don't sweat, his respiration doesn't increase, his body temperature doesn't change. Nothing changes in Gavin Newsom when he lies to your face. He described it as a quality found in very few people, an almost superhuman ability to say anything, no matter how untrue, without a hint of guilt, anxiety, or physical tell. It's this trait, Rogan argues, that allows him to stand in front of the ashes of burned down homes, as he did after the Maui fires, and talk with a creepy, detached smile about land use and development plans, while victims were still sifting through the rubble of their entire lives. This psychological armor is what enables his hypocrisy. It's the core skill that holds the fragile, perfect persona together.
It does make me very uncomfortable that someone from that political culture, which is an utterly corrupt political culture, an authoritarian political culture, could enter a presidential race. Because clearly, what are you running on if you're Gavin Newsom? As a native Californian, I know what.
In recent years, because this really is a problem, leaders in California passed dozens of bills they claim would fix the problem. Governor Jerry Brown, the last guy, signed 15 housing bills just in 2017. Last year, Gavin Newsom signed 18 separate housing bills. Did they work? Not at all. They did not work for the people who live in California, but they weren't intended to work for people who want to buy houses. Instead, those bills had one purpose: destroying suburban homes and replacing them with high density.
With a skill set like that, it's no wonder whispers of a presidential run have followed him for years, growing into a deafening roar. Despite his public claims that he would never run against Joe Biden, his actions tell a completely different story. He runs national ad campaigns attacking Republican governors, positions himself as the defiant face of progressive America, and eagerly seeks the national spotlight at every opportunity. His highly publicized debate with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis was seen by many not as a policy discussion, but as the unofficial launch of his 2028 campaign. It was pure political theater, a clash of two fundamentally different Americas. For his supporters, Newsom was sharp, charismatic, and presidential. But for critics like Rogan and Carlson, it was just another masterful performance. A flurry of slick sound bites and whataboutisms, all designed to distract from the inconvenient reality of the state he actually governs. In the end, the takedown by Rogan and Carlson paints a devastating picture of Gavin Newsom as a walking, talking contradiction. He's the environmental champion whose green energy policies have left California's power grid so fragile that it teeters on the edge of collapse. He's the champion of social equity who comes from the Getty oil dynasty and lives a life of immense wealth and privilege, completely detached from the struggles of ordinary people. He's the leader who talks tough on public safety, while his cities have become international case studies in urban decay. Tucker Carlson labeled his political culture utterly corrupt and authoritarian, a place that rewards elite failure. Joe Rogan simply sees him as the overpriced juice cleanse of American politics, impressive packaging, a bitter aftertaste, and zero real nutrients. So, who is the real Gavin Newsom? Is he the charismatic visionary leader poised to take his brand of California politics to the national stage? Or is he a cautionary tale of style over substance, a deep fake politician whose entire career has been one long, elaborate performance? Rogan and Carlson have delivered their verdict, portraying him as the captain of the Titanic being promoted to run Carnival cruises, but the final judgment remains to be seen. What is certain, however, is that as Gavin Newsom's ambition grows, the wreckage he allegedly left behind in California will be the #1 exhibit for the prosecution, a stark warning of what happens when a politician's image becomes more important than reality itself.